Today on the Income Flip podcast, I've got Chris Prefontaine. Chris, welcome to the Income Flip podcast.
Thanks, Rob. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, man. It's exciting to have you on here. I was doing a little research and diving into your background. You've been in the business a while, and I want to learn about the journey. Right? Let's start there because I see that you've been on the brokerage side, you've been on the building side, and you're doing a lot of creative finance stuff now. So I want to understand the journey of that, the psychology around that, and why don't you take me back to the beginning?
Yeah, I'll give like high level, and then you can pull me back to any detail
Sure.
on a micro because I'll put them to sleep if I go through 33
Fair
years
enough.
of stuff. Yeah, I did some building in the early 90s. I then built a realty executives franchise as a broker. I had never done brokerage at all. I was a builder. And then sold that to Coldwell Bank. Everybody said, you can't sell a brokerage, but I sold. That was my only goal of doing it was to sell it. So we sold that in 2000. That was a great experience. But the experience from 2000 to the crash of '08 was not so great. You know, the run up was great, but the crash was ugly. I was on personally on loans for about 23 projects. So when that happened, I got absolutely annihilated. That took 4 years of kind of headspace. Can I do this? Blah, blah, blah. Even though I had been at it already, whatever, 17 years. So long story short, that whole experience is what was the impetus to do what we're doing today. Because I came out of that, I had no credit. I literally had negative cash. I moved from a house to a one-bedroom apartment here in Newport, Rhode Island. So I said, okay, everybody's prodding me to get active. And they're like, this is what you do. So I said, all right, I got to buy with no banks then because I'm not bankable. I got to buy with no cash because I have no cash. And the third thing I want to make sure I did was I wanted to make sure I wasn't on that proverbial treadmill again. Because especially as a broker and a builder, you do a deal, you get paid. You do a deal, you
Yep.
get paid. So every January I'd be like, what a bummer. Like I got to do this all over again to hit my goals.
Every month. Every
Yeah,
month.
yeah. It was set. You set the goals at year end. You go, oh shoot, like I got to do this again. So that's where the 3 paydays was born. We could talk about that a little bit later. But all of the pain is what kind of created what we do now. When I say we, it was just me. Then it was family, and that was our own buying and selling, which we still do to this day. And then organically, the Smart Real Estate Coach came about. And we actually hit Inc. 5,000 3 years in a row for the fastest growing companies in U.S. And that it just started with a simple like, I'm going to help this person, then I'm going to write this e-letter that someone asked me to write, and then it morphed into we're in 80 markets now doing deals with students. We revenue share on deals. That's why the model works. It's not like go buy this and then good luck, you know?
I love that, Chris, especially because when you've been in the business as long as you have, there's so much insight that people can pull from. They're drawing on 30 years of like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you're like, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I want to double click a little bit on psychologically how brutal that must have been after being in the business 17 years, and then like the crash literally wipe you out. I that's an important thing because you had a couple of options at that point. You could have gone. You got to maybe figured out go work for the man or do something else, right? Like, walk me through that psychologically and how did you get back on the horse? And I love how it led to where you are today because like all deep holes, we have to figure out how to jump out of those deep holes in order to succeed. But I want to understand that from your perspective, right? So walk me through that.
Yeah.
How did you cope? How'd you do it?
Couple things come to mind, no particular order. So again, you can peel it back more if you want.
Yeah.
One was I looked back and went, okay, wait a minute. This was after being in my own head from '08 February till probably almost 12 February. So 4 years of being
Wow.
just full time, literally full time, working with creditors, working with debtors, working with the IRS, working with everything you can imagine I had in my back. So doing that, I said, wait a minute. It dawned on me that this was the second headache I've had in all those years, curveball, and the second time I didn't have a mentor or a group or someone to go to and go, what do I do? Literally. So that was pretty scary. So I started reaching out to people. I couldn't afford a mentor, but I started reaching out to people and saying, what should I do? I never filed bankruptcy, although everybody told me I should have. I just fought my way through it. But one particular person said, look, you didn't take down the market, Chris. The market happened, right? You just weren't prepared for it. So go out and talk to all those people that you feel badly that you didn't satisfy their either their investor or whatever, and tell them that you'll work your butt off for the next whatever it takes. You're going to make them whole, because I wouldn't file bankruptcy. So I did that on his advice. Secondly, I started reaching out to coaches and friends saying, look, you got to front me something so I can get back on my feet. And I finally got myself into a mastermind group after literally asking 5 or 6 people to say, hey, you put this up front and I'll give you a third of my profits until you're 100% return your money. Like, I was coming up with everything I could to get back at it. So I did that, and then just a lot of affirmations and reading and surrounding myself with different people. That's what it was. Because literally, I had a house overlooking Newport Harbor, and I went to a 1-bedroom apartment that was disgusting that we had to fix up. Like, over my cars, walk to the office. That's how we had restarted. It was ugly.
Yeah, yeah, and so I honor that, man. I honor that experience. So it brought you to what you're doing today. Help me understand what you're doing today.
So the family company still buys regularly. That's why I think it's so important. If you're going to coach, you got to be doing this stuff, or else you're putting people to fail. So we buy 3 ways now to satisfy the pains I had. 1, owner financing. 2, subject to existing financing. And 3, lease purchase. So because it satisfies the items that I needed to check off the boxes. No banks, no gobs of money. Now, can I go to a bank now and get a loan with where I am today? Yeah, but I don't. I don't do it because I know what it was like. And so people call me and say, oh, I got good credit. I can get 5 loans from this bank or 4 government. I said, don't do it, because the cycles are going to continue. And when I put my head on the pillow at night, it's a little different than it was in '08, because I'm not on anything personally. That's how we buy anyway, short answer.
Okay, and explain your coaching model, because you're in a lot of markets. How did that come about? I can understand how it came about because of the experience that you had. It's almost like somebody bet on you and you got profits from them based on their education. So I see how that evolved, but help me fully flush that out.
Yeah, I got a call. This is the very first one. I got a call from a gentleman at the War College. There's a War College here on Island, Navy. So he said, look, I heard about you. I was just doing deals. I wasn't coaching it. And I want you to teach me. Will you teach me? I said, I'm going back to civilian life. I've been to Afghanistan 3 tours. This kid was only in his late 20s, but he's beat up. I said, yeah. So I charged him some ungodly low number. And I said, come over to my office and I'll help you. And I really, really, really enjoyed it because it sharpened my skills. I saw someone else that was going through what I went through from a business standpoint, like starting over. And my wife said, well, why don't you just help other people do this then, if that's your passion? That's how the whole coaching started. Then a virtual assistant company reached out and said to me, hey, will you write a little ebook we can send it to our database? I said, sure. We did that on sandwich leases. The book was called Eat That Sandwich. And we sent that out. We got about 300 leads. And I'm like, well, that was cool. So, that's morphed into 20-something thousand people on our database. But that's how it started. Those 2 things started the company in 2014, because I started doing deals in 12. And I think that year we did 14 grand in business or something like that. It was a whopping year. And then we do several million now. But that's how it started. Humble.
So people understand, listening in, if you could explain to the audience what a sandwich lease option is, because that's how it sounded. It sounds like that's where did you start with the sandwich lease?
I did only because it was the easiest thing to do. I didn't have to take ownership. I could do it for $10. To this day, the agreements have $10 built in. That's how you tie up and control the property.
Yeah.
You just can't do them in Texas, just for disclosure for your listeners. Everywhere else, to my knowledge, you can. So all it is I tie up a property on a lease purchase with a definitive on it before cash out date, if there's any equity in a farm, and I turn around and do a rent-to-own program with my buyer. That's the simplicity of it. And inside of usually 3 years, we're getting that done. Now, there's a big caveat there. To this day, my son Nick came on in 2014, and he has perfected sort of the qualifying of the buyer side of it, because you and I both know well-known names who publicly will say, yeah, we do rent-to-own, and we don't care if the buyer ever cashes out because we just collect another check. And they may be okay legally, but morally and ethically it stinks. So our program very strictly vets true buyers who need time and very strictly gets them to the finish line. Now, default rate, 2 to 10%. That's peanuts. The success rate with others is like 20%, to give you a comparison. So we're big on that, and that's how it started.
Yeah, I love that because you're finding you're finding people that genuinely will get that like they will buy that
They
property at
deserve to
the
be a
end.
buyer. Yeah.
Yeah, they deserve to be a buyer. They've whether it was divorce or something or a business
New
hardship,
business.
and they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to get back to it." So I could see how you could empathize with that person because, like, right there, you would create instant rapport. Just I've been there kind of
Yeah.
conversation, right? Okay, so sub twos was the other way. Obviously, we like to buy sub two quite a bit. And for those, we have other, for those listening right now, like we'll have you go listen to some very specific technical sub two stuff. Are you doing any contract for deeds
We
as well?
do. So in my brain, I do that. Like I tell the students who aren't familiar with it, look, it's another way to get an owner financing done, and the attorneys usually like it better because the deed sits in escrow. And so yes, we interchange that with our owner financing. Most of our owner financing, Rob, is done with free and clear properties, free and clear sellers,
Okay.
because we structure principal only pay downs on literally residential side. Literally 99% of the deals, they're principal only payments. So it's a huge recession hedge. It's nice.
Yeah, Chris, how do you, what's your kind of go-to way of structuring that? I'm just curious. Like when you
On
think
the
about it
on the owner financing side,
on the owner financing side. Yep.
we'll look at rent comps. We'll look at what a mortgage would cost a potential buyer, because that's what they're looking at. If I'm going to buy this, what would it cost me conventionally? And then I want to make sure I have a spread there, because that's one of our paydays, the monthly spread. And then they're going to get the principal pay down on that. So I'll say to an owner, in a simple answer, I'll say to an owner, look, as far as they're concerned, look, a buyer's looking at this much, and they go, yeah, I get that, okay. Then you have taxes and you have maintenance and you have insurance. They don't know that I'm passing all that on, but so I take all that off. By the time I get done, I go, well, when I need a spread, I can't, this is not for free. And that's how we get the seller to where we need them to be. And it's usually a win-win, or else they wouldn't do it. But that's how we pull it off, yeah.
I love it. And so explain to me if I was a student and I wanted to come and learn how to play the game, right, Chris? What do you take me through? Like, what does this look like?
Yeah. So we started in 2016 with it was like remember the little flip cameras. They were like, I would put it on the video thing. I'd put it on the desk, and it would like zoom in and out automatically, make you go dizzy with the movies we had. But that was our first course. It was 10 videos. We called it Quantum Leap System. That has morphed into 11 modules, 60 videos, audios, downloads, everything. So that becomes our online academy. It's not a course where so many people go take a course, right? It's not a course where you go through it once and go, got it. No, I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah,
It's a
you got to go
resource
back.
center.
You got to
Yeah.
revisit. Yeah.
It's like a complete resource center. We painfully go through that thing. We're on 4.0 since 16, 4 times. We've done it over to keep it current. And that's a lot, as you know, a lot of work to go through the team.
That is a lot.
Grueling. So that's the online platform. Now, someone can do that and go do deals. Fine, they've done it. Or they can do that and it's free with any one of our, we call our experience levels. There's group coaching, and then there's 3 levels where we rev share that I alluded to earlier. So all these people around the country that I said we're working with, they're revenue sharing on deals with us. So if they start a deal today and it's a 5-year deal, we're in it for 5 years. Even if the coaching ended, we are in that deal with them till they cash that thing out. And that's good because at every step of the way, the buy, the running of it, the headaches, the cashing out of it, there's tweaks, right? There's curveballs. And they get to call us and say, what do I do? What's going on here?
Well, really, you're their partner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they
Like
own
that-
it, but we act like that, correct.
Yeah, you act like a partner, right, in that. And so just so I understand, is there like a mastermind component, a group coaching component, and then maybe there's an ascension to a one-on-one training
Yeah.
component?
This group, and then there's at the associate levels, they all have group calls, community calls weekly. This has been going on since like 17, and nonstop access to the coaches. There's 5. I still coach the high level, but there's 5 coaches, and they have access to them. So it's effort for effort. That's one of our values. So if you're active in what we call the associate experience, and you have a deal, you have 5 deals, you could be on the phone with a coach every single day, 3 times a day, because we're going to match effort for effort. I'm never going to push a noodle. I'm never going to tell the coaches to chase someone. But if someone's chasing us, we're running at their speed. That's important, effort for effort. So you're pouring gas on the ones who deserve it, and the other ones who just call you when they need you. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I say
one-on-one.
step for step.
Yep.
Yeah. I even just running my teams, I'm like, hey, I take a step, you take a step.
Yeah.
I take a step, you take a step.
Yeah,
That's
simple
how it
game of
works.
tennis.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so who is the avatar or the person that normally is like attracted to your type of coaching consulting? Because there's a lot
Yeah.
of coaches out there. There's a lot of verticals, right? Like how to syndicate, how to raise capital, how to sub twos, fix and flip, wholesaling,
Yeah.
right? Explain to me like your ideal avatar.
So I'll go niche and then I'll go kind of just avatar itself. So as far as who would like this niche over other niches, and by the way, I'll make this disclosure. Like you, I have friends on my show that make millions in all the other niches. They're all great, right? You pick,
Yeah.
pick. But to answer your question, some people don't like to go raise money, right? I get people to come to me and go, oh, I just don't want to do that. Okay, well, we don't raise money. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it's a win-win. I'm not saying all niches aren't, many of them are, but I'm not looking for 60, 70 cent purchase on the dollar, right? This is definitely not a predatory niche that we're in. We are win-win-win, just how it's structured. Sellers cleaning house, we're cleaning house, and the students making out good, and the buyers and sellers are making out good, as long as the deal's structured for that. Now, as far as the niche, person of avatar, podcast listeners are great because they spend half hour, an hour, and they're learners. Like you don't listen to me and you talk for half hour if you're not a learner. Like you want to learn, right? So that's them. Families, we're a family-oriented group. We are actual family, and then just a family feel in the community, the Wicked Smart community. So we tend to get people that, hey, I grew up with a family business, or hey, I want my kids eventually to be like you did, or I just love being part of this warm, fuzzy feeling in the community, whether they're cranking deals or not. We tend to attract that. And then people that grew up around a business in general, entrepreneurial kind of either parents or family or friends, they love journeying over here because we're really doing that. We're creating a lifestyle, but it just happens to be through creative real estate.
Yeah.
That's all, if you think about it.
Dude, I love the name Wicked Smart Community. Like just being part of the Wicked Smart community. That sounds cool.
It took us a while. It's always been Smart Real Estate Coach, but Wicked Smart, we tried to get trademarked for a while. We got it trademarked in the real estate space, and so then it became the company name. It's actually the company name, DBA.
Oh, that's so good. Man, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. Okay, so you're active in the business, right? You guys are still buying, selling houses. You're playing your game, and you've got this coaching platform that you've been building out, right, for some time. And you've got how many coaches do you have working for you right now?
5.
5 coaches.
They all had to come through. They're not just coaches. This is a good question because they're not just coaches. They had to have come through the highest level. Some of them went right there and some of them upgraded along the way, but they had worked with me and they had to have done at least 5 creative deals, which is a lot because these deals are between 45 grand and 350 grand per deal, all 3 paydays. They're heavy deals. So once they've done that, then they can get certified to be a coach. So they've all got really cool stories.
Can you explain the 3 paydays for somebody listening right now? What do you mean by
that?
Yeah,
real briefly. So remember, you and I said they got to be real buyers. So these are, I just started my own business. Oh my gosh, I'm not bankable for 2 more years, right? So because I need proof. So someone like that has a down payment. They come in. Payday 1 is non-refundable down payment that goes in your pocket. Payday 2, spread between what I'm paying the seller or their underlying debt and what I'm collecting monthly while that buyer's getting mortgage ready. It's a rent-owned. There's a spread there. And then payday 3 is all of that principal pay down, especially on the owner financing deals, plus any markup. So when I say all 3 paydays, 45 grand to 350, that means that upfront, that monthly, and that long term. But think of that model, Rob, for a second. If you and I were going to open a restaurant tomorrow, and someone said, "Hey, let me show you how to get like now money and then monthly money and then long term," we'd be like, "Well, we're in. That's a good model." That's how these work.
That's a great model, right? People don't understand that's such a great model, and you don't need credit. You don't. What's the most important skill somebody needs in order to execute this play, Chris?
This is another good one. Okay, they gotta be coachable, and everybody goes, "Yeah, I'm coachable until it gets hard. Then they're not coachable. So they gotta be coachable. Secondly, is phone skills. Now, do you need phone skills coming in? No. You just have to be coachable to learn them. One of the most successful people we have is now a coach. Was an engineer for 30 years with the government. Was petrified to pick up the phone. Now he kicks butt. Why? Because he wanted to learn. His why was strong enough, and he was afraid of retiring with not enough. Mm-hmm. So that's the most important skill, but you do not need it coming in. In fact, most don't. Is it a fast track if you love the phone already? Because I talk to people that do. Yeah, it's a faster track, but don't let that throw you off. So that's a big skill set. Can I tell you a weird one that's not a skill set? One of my biggest frustrations is managing expectations, or better yet, mismanaged expectations. And I think the big cause of that is when I started, there was 4 people in our space coaching, so social media wasn't crowded with it, right? You go on now, it's 100 times worse. People are marketing. They don't come behind with anything, but they're screaming, get rich quick. So these people come into our ecosphere and they go, yeah, like I got to get a deal done like next month. I'll try this. No. You're wasting time if you're going to try this, because as soon as you try, you're going to quit. It's not try. It's I commit for 3 to 7 years, or I don't do that yet. So mismanaging expectations is a big frustration for coaching.
Yeah, I think, what I always tell everybody coming into this world is that this is an inside out journey. You're literally like you're developing as a human, and your skill sets are developing, and your ability to develop rapport is developing, and just you're callousing your mind, right? You're learning money and finance, and you're changing some limiting beliefs that you have. Like there's so much growth, right, that happens in all of this, right? 100%. Well, Chris, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and reach out to you guys specifically, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, thank you. I got a couple ways. I'm big on free because of all the noise out there, right? I want someone to go, okay, I got this stuff for free. Now I can make an intelligent decision, not pay money, right? So one is we set up a link for your tribe only. Go to wickedsmartbooks.com/Rob. That is a free book, a truly free book, not free book, put in shipping, like so many free offers are, right? Oh, by the way, put in $8 and then it's free. No, it's free. We'll send it out of this office. It's free. You'll get 2, actually. 2 of my best sellers. Secondly, if you don't mind listening to me for another half hour, there's a workshop I did. We kind of replayed it evergreen. Nobody's going to be bugging you. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/masters class. You can watch it at your leisure, and if it's something you want to pursue, you'll be prompted to set up a call with me or someone else, and we'll help you. Yeah,
Chris, I think that's actually also on your LinkedIn profile.
Awesome. I don't run that, but that's great to hear.
Yeah, that's great. Somebody put on the LinkedIn profile. I was like, oh, that's smart.
Good
right?
deal.
That's wicked smart.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Awesome, man. Listen, I know that you're crunched for time, and I appreciate you being able to jump into the Income Flip podcast. Right? For sure. We have 30,000 people around the country that are always tuning in to what we're doing. We're big into building community, and we love people that are building community like you're building. And so I'm looking forward to reading your book and sharing it with the rest of the Grid community. Chris, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.